And so that's my screen share thing, and then on into some sharing. Sandy was promising me yesterday that we would see her today, I do believe.
Sounds like a challenge, Sandy.
I'm just quoting her from what I heard yesterday. Or at least that we'd hear her. Oh,
something's happening. No? Oh.
Hey, I see your ceiling.
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you.
You guys can't hear me, right?
No, we can. Yeah, we can. Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you hear the lawnmower outside then.
Oh, there's like a wood chipper happening outside my window.
I have some baby birds outside.
Oh.
We have a birdhouse right over the porch. And this is the second set of starlings this spring.
Mute speaker or increase volume. Oh. Is that better?
You're great.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I could see you and you were saying everything was fine, but yep, I'm here.
Hi.
I'm here. Okay.
Good to see you.
Back there. So what's on the agenda today?
We were going to talk some about resilience. I had a little share exercise for that. It might be, it can work for an exclusive group, the cream of the crop, like what we've got here. Or if other people roll in, we can incorporate them. Mm-hmm. And then I think GL and I were ready to roll with other tech Zoom kind of questions that might have arisen. Yeah. So that was pretty much what we had set up, Sandy.
Okay, cool.
Lori
I'm sorry.
You
go. All you.
Lori's on too, Sandy, if you hadn't heard, but
I did. I opened up my chat so I could see.
Where's my chat? Yes, GL.
Your chat is missing for some reason. I know at one point you were keeping track of how many weeks we've been doing Coffee and Connection. I'll just note that we've been doing it long enough. My coffee's gone from hot to iced. So we're now in iced coffee season.
Really?
Oh, I thought that might have been a comment on global change, but no, just
maybe that too. Oh, kitty tail.
Seeing as I got ill last week and we missed out, this is week 9.
Okay.
So
week 9.
We'll see what goes from there.
Okay.
There, a chat was hidden under. I clicked on more, and I thought I clicked on it earlier. It gave a record option, but it didn't give a chat option. But I thought anyway. There it is. Now I can see chat as well. Do you want to dive in then?
Let's do it.
Sure.
I had thought this would make for a good kind of share piece, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about, and I'm going to share this screen, this fun little pyramid. Sandy or Lori, either of you might have done this earlier. I had talked about a seminar, a webinar that I went to that was on resiliency. This is a fellow that I know named Rob Fletcher, who runs this consulting company called Coyote Consulting. And it's 30, actually this one was about 40 minutes, the webinar. And I recognize that people are computer and webinar out pretty much, but it's still available and I'll send it around. And there were some slides that he put together for this too. I just said, and I thought it was really very good. That was, I guess that's a part of what's going on here too. And Rob starts out with this pyramid and talks about that there are certain things for our body and for our brain, then ultimately for our relationships, that will help us in being resilient and dealing with challenging times and bouncing back and trying to move forward. The bottom three have to do with your body: sleep, move, and eat. And I was gonna just roll through and talk. I mean, the very foundation is this idea of sleep. Now, you guys probably can't read all this, and I don't want to go through all this, but this is the stuff that I can send you. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why which really is beneficial for us to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And GL, I'm sure you're listening to this part.
Yeah.
But in times like this, of course, this can be hard, even if you have the time to lie down in that, to get to sleep. And I liked a couple of things Rob suggests. He talks about making a bed cave, making your bedroom into a cave-like area where all you do there is sleep, where it's cool, where it's quiet. A couple other things that are, along the lines of stuff we talk about: having screen-free time, at least an hour before bed. There is something about looking at screens that stimulates your brain in a way that it's harder to get to sleep right after putting the screen down. Or another thing too is putting your screen on a warm setting, like reducing the brightness for use at night, and that which can be helpful. So that was some of the sleep stuff. Move in place. This is not code for exercise, but exercise can be part of it. But just that physical motion is something that we need to is very helpful for our resilience as well.
What does room movement with no props mean?
Room movement, how far, where, oh, there you are.
It's, like the 10, maybe 8 down, 2 floors.
Room movement with no props. I'll have to call Rob and maybe find out.
I don't know what that means.
In the webinar, he doesn't go through every single bullet. I'm not sure exactly what this means. But some of the things are really interesting, like apparently even 5 minutes of walking in the morning does certain things to counteract aging. I mean, it isn't going to make you younger, but
right.
These very small bits of what are more like exercise go a long way to be really helpful. and finding a point that I think is good is just finding what you like. Like it doesn't, so often we get caught up in all exercise, with sort of there's social pressure to do this in some ways, and it's got to be something big. But what is it you just like that you can do, that get up and move around? And also, I think for the group I'm talking to now, we're probably all working primarily at computers, and moving away from the computer every half hour or so, even just for a minute or two, is really important. One more, and then I'm going to ask you guys for your share question. This one I really like particularly. I mean, I wanted to get to this so we could read through this stuff. This is from Michael Pollan's book about food rules, and I love these 7 rules that he has. Don't eat anything your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. Can you think of something that your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food that you've got around the house at the moment? I don't know what my grandmother would have thought of Pop-Tarts. Oh, this is great-grandmother.
That was the same food I thought of. Isn't that funny? But I think they probably would have. So something that's all chemicals. But
yeah.
Well, we've got those yogurts in tubes now, stuff like that.
Yeah, squeezable food.
Spray cheese.
Yogurts and yeah. Yeah, there's some nasty stuff out there.
Don't eat anything with more than 5 ingredients.
What are
Sti-
the Atkins bars, those are all chemicals, right?
I don't know. That would be an interesting place to go to look at some of that stuff. Things with more than 5 ingredients. Stay out of the middle of the supermarket. Shop on the perimeter. It's just
that was easier before this whole pandemic thing.
That's very true.
Yeah. Because you end up throwing out. I mean, I noticed that a lot of my groceries are expired. Well, they expire. I mean, even canned goods expire. It's like, what the heck? If it's sealed, it's supposed to stay forever. No, the day of the Twinkie is gone. Yeah.
Well, my understanding, we should find out about this, is that some things have an expiry date on them, even though they really don't expire.
Right.
Like, I don't know if there's a Food and Drug Administration rule about that or something.
I think you can look it up, and there are, there's sort of different rules for different categories of food. And then there's like a best by versus an actual expiration.
Yeah, I took something out of the freezer the other day that I was looking forward to, and it had an expiration date on it, and I threw it out. And it's kind of, it came home from the grocery store, it went in the freezer, it was in the freezer until I pulled it out the other day, and then I threw it out. It's kind of like, what's the point? Yeah.
Well, you don't want to experiment with your own body by eating it to see if it's for real.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And canning, I mean, yeah, your canning should be good for a long, long time. I do recognize that ice cream is on the perimeter of the grocery store. I'm not sure, but that could get X'd out by the more than 5 ingredients, I guess, because there's probably 7 different sugar things in ice cream.
More than 5 ingredients, huh? Well, you can always eat
It's tough.
Breyers or something, Yeah.
These aren't like absolute rules the way I think of it.
Let's not eliminate all the good stuff.
It depends on, yeah. It also depends on what you like. If you're like a plain ice cream person or a person who likes a lot of stuff in their ice cream, right?
And if you get one of the ones that say, it may include, and there's a long list because there's, 18 different flavors that they're doing the list for, those don't count at all. So here's where you were coming from, Sandy, a second ago. Don't eat anything that won't eventually rot.
Yeah, evidently.
Do you guys remember the Super Size Me?
Michael Moore movie? Is it Michael Moore? No.
No, it was.
What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Shoot, I had it written down here somewhere. But that was the fellow that only ate McDonald's food for a period of time. Morgan Spurlock.
Right.
Do you know what we're talking about, Sandy?
No.
2004, this fellow who was essentially kind of challenging the what do they call it? The health guidelines around McDonald's food. I know there's a different name, but hopefully you know what I mean. He decided to eat only McDonald's food for, I think he was aiming at, was it more than a month? I forget.
I think so. I think it was like a substantial amount of time, but I don't remember.
And he lived to know about it, huh?
And he created a documentary around it.
Oh, okay.
So you were following him through this situation, and for quite much of the beginning, he's kind of this peppy documentary guy, but he gets really sick, and the doctors warn him that if you continue this you could kill yourself ultimately, but he does survive.
My daughter was actually telling me a couple days ago that usually, although they left school, and so usually her teacher that she had this year in the spring does an experiment with McDonald's with the class where they, I think, leave out a hamburger for like weeks, and what they find is that it doesn't degrade. and it really makes a big impression on the kids. So much so she didn't do it herself. She just heard about it from the previous grade and is like, nope.
Yeah.
McDonald's should advertise that. Not only do we do fast food, you can leave it in the cupboard for a month.
Yeah.
In the extras on the end, I don't get that so much anymore. You know, they used to throw those extras on the end of the DVD.
Right.
And so when I got Super Size Me, one of the things that was an extra was that this fellow put kind of under glass, under cake things, 6 or 7 different McDonald's foods, the different sandwiches in that, and one of them was the French fries. And he was keeping the rate at which they did start showing mold and stuff. So in that case, there was mold on everything except for the French fries.
That must have been before they started doing all the salads and stuff, I'm thinking, right? I mean, thinking.
Even those, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what can they do to salads? Do you know?
Well, you know, it's funny. So I hadn't had iceberg lettuce in years because it's just not something that we buy. But then in the beginning of the pandemic, we were ordering these boxes from somewhere that would give you an assortment of different food delivered to your house. And it included iceberg lettuce. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I haven't had this in a long time. That dense ball of lettuce lasted for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So I don't know how they genetically modify it, but I was shocked at how long before it even started to like brown.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound very good.
Yeah.
This was an organic thing that you were doing?
I think there were some things in it that were organic. The lettuce was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lori says that she does not eat McDonald's. Good for you, Lori. And primarily make your own stuff. And that should be one of the recommendations here at some point too. But no, that sounds, apparently we'll go off on a further tangent if that's okay. I got from my relatives in Toronto that it's all the rage to take the very end of various vegetables and plant them. To grow new, and I tried it with a celery stalk. So just the very bottom of the celery stalk, and it's in my window now, and it's got little leaves coming up out of the middle of it.
There was a video, I think it was on Facebook, where they took the top of a pepper. You know, like how you cut off the top of the pepper and how it's got a bunch of the seeds in it still. Yeah. And you stick the pepper in a thing of dirt upside down and you cover it up and it'll start sending out shoots. So I did that. It's on my deck right now. I'm experimenting because I further investigated because I was trying to find the video again. Because it did a bunch of them. It didn't just do peppers. It did. I think it did celery. It did a bunch of different things, and I came across a video of how to grow peppers the right way, and the seeds that are in a pepper. You're supposed to literally like separate them and plant one seed per plant.
Wow.
Not like the whole clump of all the pepper seeds in one pot, but like one seed per plant. So I'm really curious as to how this is going to come out.
So did you try, that you might just get like a monster pepper?
I have no idea what I'm going to get, you know. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not really into doing all the gardening and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if I get
I think we need regular updates on the celery and the pepper.
Probably.
I can send a photo around.
Okay. There you go.
I could get up and just walk over there and show it to you.
Lori says, I can't grow a garden. The animals eat my veggies. They get the food. I get nothing. I'm sorry.
So far, the celery's in the window, but
Yeah.
I hear you. We had strawberries outside. There's a very happy chipmunk.
Mm.
Yeah.
And of course, only like nibbles, then goes to the next strawberry and nibbles again. And
Yes.
but they were leftover strawberries from another season. So anyway, don't eat anything that won't eventually rot. It's one of his rules. Always leave the table a little hungry. That's a good one. Enjoy meals with people you love, which I think goes to that idea of connection that eventually gets there. And I love the last one. Don't buy food where you buy your gasoline.
No chicken salad sandwiches, no churros.
Well, it doesn't say that, Sandy, but it's, I mean, on the one hand, I kind of marvel at those bigger Cumberland Farms nowadays, right? And they got things rotating. They got all kinds of hot doggish things rotating on metal deals, and and it goes on. And I haven't been brave enough to eat any of those, so I'm going to stick with what Mr. Paulin says here. So this is the foundation of resilience: is wanting to thinking about sleep, about diet, and about movement, about motion. So, I mean, we're a small group, but I chopped that off a little bit. Anyway, what I wanted to suggest as a share today was, how have you had success with getting good sleep and or getting being a good mover and or with diet? Because we're all about sharing successes, right? And learning from one another and making.
I'm gonna hide. I don't.
I know. I'm not sure that this is appropriate to be videotaped.
Oh no.
So we could put it on pause, I think.
I could pause the recording if you have you have a confession you have to make, Sandy.
Yeah, no. I've been sleeping very well. I actually had a medication that I was going to start to take that seemed to be affecting my sleep, so I immediately stopped the medication because I wasn't going to jeopardize a good night's sleep. You take it once and then you're up all night. It's like I took it at 10 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't sleep that night. It was like that didn't make any sense to me at all. So
yeah,
I didn't take it again. So anyway.
So you stopped taking the medication.
I did. I called my doctor. So my doctor was on medication anyway. So
there's
Lori's
probably
doing
some.
well. Sorry, Lori responded via chat, and she says, sleep is not a problem. I get 8 hours. My moving is mowing my lawn. I cook what I eat. I'm good there. Way to go, Lori.
Wow.
Well
So we got
done.
sleep, motion. You're all the way up the pyramid.
Yeah, good job.
to stage 3 at least. So GL, you're passing on this?
It's I've had a very busy past 2 or 3 weeks with stuff that I do outside of Pathlight, and so I have not been really great with this pyramid. I am hopeful that starting maybe tomorrow, I can get back into some healthier habits and have a little more space to make better choices. But I have not passed this with flying colors recently.
It doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be,
I have not.
On and off.
Yeah, I really, all I can say is I haven't eaten food from a gas station.
Thank God.
I mean, I also haven't gone to a gas station. So, because I'm driving a lot less. So I don't know how much credit I should get for that. But yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm kind of lucky in that one of the things that I do that is a nice break that I really enjoy doing is cooking. So it's a nice tension release, a nice way to get away from whatever's going on. But my wife and I have this ongoing challenge where her mode of operation here is to try and plan meals for the whole week at the beginning. We're going to start, what are we going to have Monday? What are we going to have Tuesday? What are we going to have Wednesday? And I just can't deal with that. My modus operandi when it comes to cooking is it's time to eat. Well, it's a little more time before I have to eat. I'm opening the fridge, I'm looking in the cupboard, and oh yeah, I can put that with that. And that's really the way I do it. And I actually cook the big majority of the dinners around the house. And I do it that way. So COVID hits, we're both home. She's working in that end of the house, I'm working in this end of the house. And we wanted to avoid the ongoing conversation of what are we going to have for dinner tonight, which is much easier to have when you're both in the same house as compared to what I'm in Springfield and she's somewhere in Northampton. So I started doing my thing earlier, like in the morning, thinking, okay, I'm looking in the cupboard, what's here? And then I just put something on the stove, like a box of pasta or something that indicates what the meal's going to be later in the day. And most often it ends up being that. So just that little adjustment of putting that out there earlier on. And then, like as I said, I'm lucky because I enjoy cooking. And it's often a way to, okay, I got to finish work and I'll go 5-10 feet over there and start cooking.
Does your wife does she like look at the clue and guess? Like, is there sort of like more to this that she'll be like, I see that you put a can of on the stove. I think we're having this. And then. It does happen along those lines. I mean, usually there's enough there, or maybe it doesn't have to be that specific. Oh, there's noodles. Okay. Something to do with noodles is going to happen.
Does she take it in a different direction on you? You know, like, I don't know, maybe you wanted something with pasta sauce, and maybe the pasta sauce is more chicken française than it is, or whatever, chicken Alfredo than it is, spaghetti. Maybe she shakes it up on you a little bit. You put out the noodle and she puts out the sauce, or.
That's Sandy, true. You should each put out We should each put out an ingredient and then have to figure it out.
Or just keep throwing ingredients on during the day and then make something out of what's there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That could work in your house, GL, right? You got.
Yeah, I mean, but with my kids, who knows what's going to show up on that counter? So goldfish are going to be in our food.
Uh-oh. But it's worked out pretty well. All those foreign language words you use, Sandy, to describe different pasta sauces, which is just exposing your sophistication in this area.
Yeah. My takeout menus.
Maybe we haven't gotten
start doing a recipe swap.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's where I have a hard time again, because also I just kind of open the cupboards and
you're one of those folks.
I like that. I'm actually more along those lines too. And actually, Lori shared that she's with you on that, Peter. So kind of more of us is creative, not follow recipe. We have a division in our house too, where my husband is like has to have a recipe and he follows it to like the T, where I'll see him like measuring water and like checking to see if it's level. And like we'll put a timer on for pasta. I have not once in my entire life ever timed cooking pasta. It's just not how I operate. I'm much more of a cook by feel person. So we have very different styles.
I can't tolerate baking. I have a really hard time with baking because you gotta like get all the measuring freaking things out and
Freaking.
measuring materials.
Yeah.
And
Because none of the stuff that you bake is good for you to eat. That's probably, that's definitely from the inside aisles of the grocery store.
True.
well, if I'm baking it, hope it's at least a little different than buying a box of something. But I'd enjoy thinking that this is so ingrained in me, Sandy, that is the case. But I don't know that. I guess has more to do with my tolerance of following the lines of a cookbook, and then that ultimate thing: did I put the quarter cup of oil in or not? I forget. How can I tell?
forget baking powder. Is this even going to work? Yeah, and all the ingredients look the same when you put them in, right? They're all white powder, so you don't remember what you did. Yeah. I have a great appreciation for chemistry, and I enjoy chemistry, but if I have to do it with baking, I don't, I get very frustrated by it. It's so precise, and it's just not how I like to cook. But my husband really enjoys it exactly for that reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was this new from Lori? I don't measure or use the timer. My grandmother never did, and I learned to cook from her. All right. Very good. I ran into this guy. We had this person staying with us at college who came to a movie festival thing, and he wanted to do something nice for us. He stayed for a week. And he said, I know, I'll bake you a cake. And he actually did it was very hands-on, but he essentially measured things just with his hands and shook things in. And to bake that way, and it was this great cake. It came out, but he didn't use a cup measure or what are those things called? Oh yeah, tablespoons. He didn't use any of that.
And he didn't weigh, because real true bakers weigh ingredients. They don't measure them. My kids and I have been watching some baking shows, even though I don't bake, because they're fun to watch. And they measure they weigh them, so they have a scale because how the weight of flour, how flour. When you're measuring it in a cup, it can have different amounts of air in it, which will throw off your, depending on how much you pack it in. So they go by.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I wonder if you would have known if he brought out his food scale, I assume. But maybe he must cook a lot and just can do it by feel.
It was very impressive, just sort of standing there watching him throw this thing together.
Wow.
And it came out fine. Amazing. So maybe there's the secret, talking about eating as compared to eating at some junctures. You need to eat. That's important. But did we have things that are successful for sleeping, being a mover, and or diet? Have we shared all we can share?
Maybe. Lori says, I don't measure or use the timer. My grandma never did, and I learned to cook from her. Right? Yep. And you probably use ingredients that only she would recognize.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Where do we want to go from here? Are there any tech questions that we can help you or Sandy or Lori with? I can walk the rest of the way up the pyramid if you guys are interested in being exposed to what this thing's about.
Yeah, how's it going, Sandy? So you're working. I know Peter said that he saw you in the office, but you're mostly still working from home?
I'm still half and half. I mean, now because the hours have changed in the office, they've opened up the office to, I guess, 20% capacity, something like that, as of Monday, as of this past Monday. I was like 50-50. I was like 2 or 3 days at home, 2 or 3 days at the office, 2-week wait to 40 hours. Now I am, I think 13, what did she figure out? I think I'm 13 hours in the office and the rest of it at home because of the office capacity thing. I'm in the office Wednesday and Friday mornings and Thursday afternoons. So I'll be going there this afternoon. Yeah.
So that's less time, right?
Less time in the office. Yeah. Yeah. In order to allow for other people to be able to come in.
Right.
Which is kind of ironic that in a way that we made this schedule to sort of limit the number of people in the office, to limit the number of people in the office. And I think the anticipation was it would be inviting more people in.
Well, I think that there will be actually more people coming into the office.
Yeah.
Because I was one of the, I think that when there was an anchor group, I guess, as far as, keeping the office open through the whole, the past couple of months because of the pandemic and stuff, a lot of people were just working from home, period. I don't think people were coming into the office during business hours at all, except the admin staff that were, or the residential support staff, I don't know how, that were scheduled to be there. So I've been part of that. And so I think that now that other people will be coming back in again, it's kind of works the other way around. So
how do you like all this signage and just how to the movement around the office and that stuff?
I'm glad that they didn't do I guess the one-way corridors idea has not been implemented, and I'm kind of happy about that because I work next to the copier, and if it was one way in the other direction, it would have been a long trip to the copier. Do you know what I mean? So from that point of view, it's cool. The signage and stuff, you kind of get used to it. I mean, I think initially when everything first happens, it's kind of like, like you're kind of taken aback that it's kind of nerve-wracking, I guess. But once you've dealt with it a while, then it kind of goes away. The whole angst part of it kind of goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change is really hard, but we have capacity for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, like the fishbowl room, I don't know what room number that is. It has a capacity of 4 people. So that was a conference room. So there was at least a dozen people that would be able to sit in there comfortably. And yet now capacity is 4. So because of the social distancing, which we all need to be very much aware of, I think it's scary that the whole idea of opening up the society as a whole means that now people are stupidly risking their lives in order to prove that they can be close to each other and not wear masks and stuff like that. I mean, I think that they had something on the news this morning about a group that had a party. They had a party in Florida, and there were a dozen of them. I think that they were either college kids or early 20 kids, and they are all now sick. Every single one of the kids I think there was like 20 kids at the party, and they all are sick. And it's kind of like, gee, I wish I'd known. Seriously, so that's the part that's kind of scary. It would be nice if everybody could go to the beach and stay distance from everybody else, but everybody can't go to the beach. I don't understand why there's such an issue with them being able to limit, do like what they've had to do other places where if there's going to be a mass exodus to a place in the heat of the summer, then say, okay, we're going to allow so many people in this space. And when that maximum is reached, sorry, you'll have to come back another day. I don't understand what the problem is with doing that in public spaces. Sometimes it just seems, I don't know. I know too many people at risk to be able to drop all the precautions,
Yeah.
and just expect life is going to go back to normal. It's not. It's not until they have a vaccine anyway.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think part of what we're seeing right now is the cases that would have happened around Memorial Day weekend. And I think if I was listening to the same stuff about Florida you were this morning, and that was part of what was being talked about. But of course, you can't say directly sometimes. Well, they're hesitant to say directly that A caused B, that loosening things on Memorial caused more people being sick. Yeah, it's wild. Lori says that she got sent home early by Bonnie to try. And you're right, the capacity of Brookdale is 20, and the attempt is to keep it down to 20 people. I was also in on the conversations about making one-way hallways.
Yeah.
Part of my job was to keep drawing the maps. We had 4 or 5 different possible methods. But I was really glad that we got to the point of saying, look, this is going to be ridiculous. It's just going to cause that much more connecting with people.
Yeah,
so
because somebody like me, anybody, any of us would have to walk the whole building in order to get from point A to point B because of the one way, where normally I wouldn't be part of the other side of the building 99% of the time. So yeah, you kind of have to weigh the pros.
I'll be curious to see when it gets up over 20. I mean, there'll be another sort of level, I suppose, where it'll be, 30 people or something, and we'll see how things work. But when I've been there, it seems pretty quiet in the place. And I think this signage is really quite clear, pretty good.
Yeah, it has been really quiet. Yesterday when I was in there, up until I saw you, I don't think I had. Well, no, I take it back. I did see like 2 or 3 other people, but it was like really like ghost town, like really, really, really quiet. So,
Have you been over?
Yeah.
Sorry, have you been over to Hadley at all?
I've gone into the ICC twice, once to just pick up my second monitor. And the second time I met Ellie there, she's our new digital media specialist, to give her all of our recording equipment, because she produced the video with Ruth that showed how, for Brookdale, how to, what the new processes are. So I've only been there twice, and both times there was nobody else there. There's a process for signing in and signing out, and so, yeah, it's very weird. I mean, one of the things that I truly love about working at the ICC is all of the liveliness that's there, and being able to hear Milestones and Whole Children downstairs, and people playing basketball in the gym, and all the classes, and when the band rehearses, and dance party class, and that's the thing that I love most about it, is all the life there. So it's very weird to be in that building where it's dark and there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a kitchen that you can't eat in. it's a big room. I mean, one or
Yeah.
two people can't eat in there. I mean, all the tables have signs on them saying, I'm surprised that we can still use the equipment in there. I'm kind of waiting for the coffee machines to go away, and I don't know.
It's very different.
It is all of it is very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing you, Sandy, and I saw Irina yesterday as well, and Tony, people that it had been literally almost 3 months.
Mhm. Right.
And that kind of hit me as I was saying, wow, I haven't really seen you now
Right.
in it's a long time.
Right.
But then just picked up like it was yesterday.
Well, it is very different to see people in person I mean, I have seen you every week, almost through this, and it's nice to do that. It's better than nothing, but it is nice to actually see people and being able to not reach out and touch, obviously, but just to see people in person, I mean, that's important too. I'm not sure how important that is in anybody's mind right now. But to me it is. I mean, I still find that, I don't have, I mean, I have my cat, but I do. I find it important to have the human aspect of it.
Yeah.
Lori and I will be working in the same office at the same time tomorrow for the first time in months.
Oh,
That'll be.
how are you guys pulling that off?
I think it's because we are going to be 6 feet apart, which our spaces are. So, yeah, I'm looking at it. Is it? Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yep. Every Friday. So that.
I guess. Oh wow, you're looking forward to that.
Yeah. You can say
Lori's
hello.
listening.
Yeah.
One of the rules was, not having more than 2 people in those 4 quad kind of spaces. So that works out for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. It was interesting as we did the Leadership Institute piece. We had 10 people. They were supposed to do a final presentation on like March 27th or something, and it got canceled. And then, time kept going by, and we had a Zoom meeting with everybody, and we asked 2 things about their final presentation, and they did that via Zoom. And then graduation, we said, do you want to do something virtual, or should we try to figure out something that we could do in person? And they too, you're just saying, Sandy, about, this need to want to be together. To a person, they said, no, we want to try and figure out how to do something in person. And it was to be honest, it was a big job to figure out how we could make it work. But I think people really did get a lot out of actually being able to be together and for an hour to do that. And hopefully we can do more things like down the road.
Yeah. I understand it's not convenient, but it is part of our psyche,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all just virtual. It just can't be.
Yeah.
And Lori says, see you tomorrow at 8:00, Sandy. Bonnie changed my start time. Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you'll be there.
Yep. We'll both be there at 8:00 in the morning.
All right. Should we think of winding down?
I think so, unless anyone has any questions or there's anything else that we want to talk about. This was a nice discussion.
Mm-hmm.
See you, Sandy.
Yeah.
And to hear from you, Lori. It's really nice to be able to communicate more directly with you, even chat.
Yeah.
I was going to say enjoy the lovely day out there, but it also is supposed to hit 90 degrees, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to get pretty hot.
I think it's going to get pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to be out in that evening part where things start cooling off and, you know, and the sun's about to go down. And aim at that spot.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay.
That
Well,
would be
thank you
good.
guys for doing this. I'm glad that you continue to do it too, that you haven't petered out. Pardon the French.
Well, we'll be back for number 10 next
Yep.
week. So were we suggesting party hats? Was that it, GL?
I think so. If you want to wear a festive party hat,
Yeah, you should have a theme. You should come up with a theme every week, you know?
we can. We'll see about that. But, maybe hats next time. Maybe we can come up with like a top 10 something to commemorate our 10th Coffee and Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, shoot, what was his name?
David
Anyway,
Letterman.
Yeah, that.
Oh, geez. Or what was
Am I
his
showing
name?
my age?
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson. Yeah.
No,
Uh,
the envelope. No, the envelope up against his forehead.
Yeah.
Something, you know? Yeah. I'm dating
We'll come
myself.
up with something.
Okay. Okay.
We
well, thank
always
you,
do.
guys.
We do.
Okay, good seeing you, Sandy.
Take care.
Lori,
Bye.
good luck with everything.
Bye, Lori.
Bye-bye.
Bye.